My name's Kate Diener. I'm sorry, my daughter has like separation anxiety. Oh, I hate that. All right, my name is Kate, and I'm a recovering heroin addict. And I'm here to kind of tell you what happened to me. I'm really nervous, so sorry. I'm not an expert on, heroin statistics or facts or anything like that. It's honestly a little too depressing to even begin to talk about. But all I know is what happened to me was completely outside of my control. Something I had never, dealt with in my entire life. My childhood, I can't really complain. My parents divorced when I was young, but they both loved all of, my brothers and I very much. I never saw them fight, and it was kind of the norm. Like, I had very fond memories of my childhood playing with my twin brother and my older brother. There was, a period of darkness in my childhood that I won't go into, but doctors, that I see now kind of say when all the terrible things started to begin in my head. I don't make excuses for the things that I've done. All I can do is kind of speculate where everything went wrong. But the teenage years, I guess, were spent being reckless and very self-destructive. I had severe depression. That began when I was about 13. When I was 15, that's when the drugs started. And it wasn't very hard to get. I could get weed and alcohol. My cigarette habit began then, which has still continued until this day. I would do it on the weekends a lot with my friends. Not really during the weekend, but it was more of a priority than school, even though I did do it every day. During the week, I would just think about what I was, how intoxicated I was going to get over the weekend. I would steal money, I would take the car, sneak out. It's all very cliche, but very true. And my only friend was drugs. I was quite a loner. Didn't have a lot of friends. My mom is a teacher here, so she was like the only person I could go to. And it was hard, but this started this deep dependence for drugs as a coping mechanism, which you really don't think about, but coping skills are what get you through life, And mine was drugs, so it's just if I was sad, I would get high. If I was happy, I'd get high. If I was angry, I'd get high. It was the only way to stop those feelings. And they say addiction is like a disease of feelings, you just cannot cope with your feelings. So I spent about 10 years high every day for 10 years. Not very proud of that. By the time I was 22, I was already a 2-time college dropout. I had tried heroin, and I liked it, but it wasn't the same then. I don't know if I had gotten to this point yet when I first tried it where I was absolutely miserable, but I put it down and I wouldn't do it for months, and I did it again and I wouldn't do it for months, and I don't know what happened, but things changed at a point. I met somebody and I was in love, and we had a secret, and we both had this same deep need to cope with drugs. And we would do pills at first, Vicodins, Percocets, morphine, Oxycontin, which are all, derivatives of the opiate plant. So it's all synthetic heroin, which, they don't really tell you. It's like medicine, the doctor gives it to you, it's gotta be safe, So then you find out, hey, I'm doing heroin, why not go actually do heroin? And, it's cheaper too, it's $10, but they don't tell you that once you get addicted, it's $10 40 times throughout a 24-hour period. That's a lot of money. I had a $300 habit a day, and getting that kind of funds, you do things you weren't raised to do, and you cheat people, and you lie, and you steal, and you do things that you will regret for the rest of your life. So I'm in love with this person. We're doing drugs. We start injecting heroin. That's one thing I thought I would never do. You see it on TV. People shooting dope, and it's just like so taboo, but it's like here, I bought it here. Your kids are around it, your family's around it, like it's bad here too. Soon I became pregnant, my first pregnancy. And, I couldn't get help. For a while I kept a secret, I couldn't get help because, being pregnant was a liability. But I kept using. Thank you. And really that's all I could do. It was another excuse, I'm trying to keep my baby from going through withdrawal, which is something I'll briefly talk about. You get addicted to opiates, your body physically becomes addictive, so when you don't have it in your bloodstream, your body craves it, therefore it makes you sick. And the only way to not feel sick is to use more. And it's a deadly cycle that gets almost everybody addicted to opiates. But I had my son, and 5 days later, OCY, Office of Children and Youth, came and took my son from me. The girl that lived in suburbia in little old Union City, and her mom's a teacher and her dad's a chef, and, did pretty well, graduated high school, did some college, my son was taking me from the city, It was just something I couldn't even begin to deal with, like thinking that that's not me, that happens in like the inner cities. No, it happens here. So again, more excuses to use. They took my kid, I'm gonna just die in this poetic drug-induced death and everybody feel bad for me because I'm a drug addict. Now my son, I have to say, is doing very well. I almost lost him to foster care, but at 5 months he was put into the care of my son's maternal grandparents on his father's side. And he's been there ever since, and he is 4.5. I do see him on a regular basis, and we have a great relationship. In 2009, I had my son, and then from 2009 to 2011 was 5 rehabs, 6 detoxes. I spent 5 months in rehab and relapsed the day I went out. I can recite the AA and NA book to you, of Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. I know every tool to not use drugs, but for some reason, heroin just overpowers me. In 2011, my son's father, the boy that I fell in love with our terrible secret, took his own life 3 blocks from my house. It destroyed me. Just goes to prove that, if you don't die from the drug, you can die from the lifestyle. Getting up every day, dealing with these drug dealers to get you your next fix, and worrying about feeling sick, and then if your family will find out, and your track marks, and were you going to buy food or are you going to buy more drugs? And it was too much for him, and he took his own life. My son was 2.5. So since then, I've had relapses. I can't say that it's this once upon a, dream story of he died and I got my life together and my son's back, and it's like a lifelong disease. I will struggle with this for the rest of my life, this urge to use heroin. Do I want to be that person? No, of course not. Do I understand why I throw away everything for something so horrible? No, I have no idea why I do those things. And I wish I did. Maybe if I did, I wouldn't use. But I can't sit here and lie to you guys and tell you that, I still don't think about it to this day. I gave birth to my daughter last January. She's a little over a year. She's my everything. I still struggle with guilt and shame with my son, especially, and all the other horrible things I did. I still have self-destructive issues. I have a lot of, issues with my mental health. I take a lot of psych medications. I am a shell of the person that I used to be when I was in high school. I was like, outgoing and powerful, and now I'm just like introverted and shattered into pieces. I don't enjoy coming up. I understand my purpose being here, to warn you. Like, I am here to scare you. I ask you not to judge me for the things that I've done, because, I don't enjoy coming up here and putting on my, dirty skeletons out here for the world to see, but if it stops one of you from doing heroin or any drug for that matter, staying off the path of success, then in those 5 years that I wasted being a drug addict isn't all for nothing. Can I tell you I'm never going to use drugs again? No, I can't promise anything. All I know is today that I'm not going to use drugs. And tomorrow I'm really going to hope that I don't do it again. And I just hope that everybody realizes that it can happen to you. Addiction does not discriminate. Rich, poor, young, old, boy, girl, it doesn't matter. It can impact you whether you're a family member or an addict yourself. I highly suggest getting them help or you getting help because it doesn't get better. And I don't know, a lot of you have heard about the recent deaths. One of my best friends was one of the ones that overdosed about a month ago. And I just thank my stars that, I was clean during that period because I probably would have gotten my hands on it. So thank you all for listening.